Hey, it's Sean with Happy Ass Ranch YouTube channel. Today, it's December 13th, and it should be really cold. It's not. It should be snowy. It's not. So we're going to go for an overnight hike out here in the canyon country in western Colorado. You can kind of see behind me out here that it's just amazing stuff out here. There's just a lot of cool stuff to see. We'll look for some petroglyphs and areas where Native Americans might have camped, that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll find some deer or elk sheds out here. Who knows? We're just going to go poke around for a couple of days and see what cool things we can see. So, yeah, it should be temperatures. It's only getting down in this area about mid to upper 20s. So, like for this time of year, it's really nice. And the daytime temps have been getting in the mid 40s, high 40s. So it's perfect for hiking. And I live like, as the crow flies, probably like 10 miles that direction. It takes about 35 minutes to get to the end of the road here. I think I'm going to hike in, go around this point here, probably hike in and camp somewhere around 4 miles in. This is all a designated wilderness area, so there's some old roads in there, but they're not being used other than walking and horseback, that kind of stuff, if that even. So we're not going to see anybody, that's for sure. Hunting seasons are over for the most part. Private land, but this is all public. There's some private down in the canyon there, but we're not going to run into anything like that. So we'll find us a nice cool camp spot. I didn't even bring a tent, so I'm just going to be sleeping out under the stars. It's supposed to be good weather, so I'm not worried about that. We will find a spot to camp where if something does happen to come up, that we got some sort of shelter, maybe like a little overhang or something we'll find, but we'll see what we can find when we get out there. So I'm going to grab my pack and start hoofing it. So, well, I've got about 1.6 miles so far. In a little over half, like 35 minutes. It's really nice out here because it's mostly flat, and I'm on an old road. They can't drive it anymore, but the cattle still use it, so it's still, and the elk really use it, so it's really easy walking so far. So what I wanted to say was that this area is so cool because it's been lived in for 10,000 plus years. So and 10,000 years ago, this place looked a hell of a lot different than it does now. It wasn't too far north from here that the ice sheets were down, so you're gonna have mastodons and just all kinds of wildlife that are no longer around, living in these areas. It's just really interesting, when you find, like old campsites and stuff like that, especially when you find stone tools that, are, you can date back, 5,000 plus years, it's just cool because you think, like me, I think well, what was the terrain like, back then? There's different vegetation, I'm sure. Certainly a lot more water. Like out here, it's tough to find water. Oh, good, I'm seeing a lot of snow in the shade. That's going to be helpful. Yeah, there's not a lot of water right now, in the last couple hundred years. So, there's a lot of potholes and that kind of stuff. And there's creeks. Like there's a year-round creek right down not far from here. But, it's just amazing, like I didn't bring a tent, and it's like my wife's like, you're not taking a tent? I'm like, no. She's like, well, is that smart? And I'm like, Indians didn't have tents. They slept out in this shit every day, so, I got a sleeping bag. They didn't even have that, so certainly obviously going to be all right, but, it's just a really cool country out here. I want to say it's easy to explore. It's easy if you don't have to cross canyons. You look at those canyons back there. If you're going from here to over there, that's probably 4 hours, and it's hard, that's a lot. You gotta drop down in, cross over, pick your way up, I'm sure back in the day they didn't give a shit. Why would they care? That's they're that was just a normal day for them. But what I have found over years hiking in this kind of country is, they would travel from spot to spot, and you find tons and tons of little camps. And then you think, well, hell, they've been out here for 10,000 years. Of course there's going to be tons of camps, But you can tell by, the stone tools and things that you find, the age of things, you get a general idea. Sometimes they use the same camps, for thousands of years. So, and that's because they're in good spots, in likely spots. But anyway, I rounded the corner. I should be close to the 2-mile mark. And then the area I want to look at is all beyond me and north of here. So once I round this corner, I'm going to drop down towards where the canyons start. And then there's some long fingers, mesas that go out that I want to poke around. And I don't want to drop down in any of the canyons. I might, depends on what I see. All right, so there's that rock outcropping that that's where I'm gonna camp. So I gotta drop off this hill. Obviously, just going right over there would be the fastest way to do it. But the canyon starts just below me here, kind of goes around and down. I'd almost like to go along that way, because any of the cool stuff you're going to find is going to be closer to the canyon and then go up. But then again, I'd like to get over there and get my pack off, because my pack's about 35 pounds, 40 pounds probably, because I got a fair amount of water in there. Because in case you don't find water out here, you better bring a bunch. So I do have a water purifier with me as well, so I'm sure I'll find pools of water I can fill up. But I think I'm just gonna go down, just do the quickest way over there, and get over there, find myself a good spot, because that's the most important thing. And then I'll get out and then go around it to the back side of it and go all the way around and work my way up. And then tomorrow when I come out, I can come up that. So I think that's what I'll do. So, all right, let's get rolling. All right, I made it to my rock outcropping. So I think what I'm gonna do is walk around the left side here. I might end up walking all the way around it, but I'd like to get something on the south side, but I also want to be able to find a spot that's got shade so there's snow, because I only brought in so much water, and I'd rather have that to drink, and I need some to cook with. So and it wouldn't hurt to be able to boil a bunch of water too, so I can have hot tang tonight and that kind of stuff. So yeah, so we'll cruise over. Pardon the shaky camera there. Yeah, so we'll go around that side to start. We might find something right at the base over there is what I'm hoping. So we just need like a little overhang or something that's got a little bit of cover, just in case. It shouldn't have any weather, but you want to be, just in case, you want to have your shit together. So let's go find us a spot, man. All right, I found the spot I want. I don't know, it's not ideal. I don't know. I was thinking like right here. I was thinking right here. Fairly flattish. Have a fire right here. I mean, I'm not in a survival situation, so I don't need, tons of heat. And there is, right back there, there's a pretty deep alcove. It's in the shade already. So, but it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be in the shade here in a minute anyway, when the sun goes down. It's not ideal for sunlight, but I mean, during the day, like, as soon as I drop my stuff, we're going to go for a hike. So, I'm going to be out. I'm going to go out, down, around, poke around. So I got snow down here, and there's tons of firewood around here. So, there's a bunch just right there that'll be easy to get right here. So I don't know. I think this is, the nice thing is I got a good view. It's a cool spot. Mostly flat. It won't be muddy. I mean, it doesn't even matter if it rains. It's still, if something happens, I can go right there tonight. So it's not like it's that big a deal. So this will be my spot. So I'm going to drop my pack and grab some waters and that kind of stuff. Probably eat a little bit, eat a snack, and because it's a pretty big hike down through there and around. So, and you never know what you're going to find. So, but anyway, let's get that started and roll on. I love it when all your food and shit falls out of your pack. Gotta have a little bit of that, a little nectar of the gods. Let's see. Yeah, another thing you gotta watch for when you hit these overhead, you know, like out in this country, there's lots of pack rats, you know, so you get too nice of a spot and there's probably gonna be pack rats and, you know, running around you all night too, so, you know, I'd rather just hang out right here and get a good night's sleep. I got my my 0-degree down bag, so certainly not gonna be cold, that's for sure. That thing's super warm. Got a good pillow. To me, that's pretty important. Put food in here. Brought a pair of long johns in case I got cold. I typically like to sleep just in my underwear. Like, I'm always warmer that way, you know. All my friends, they like to, even my wife, you know, they get in bed, they got long johns on and socks and everything, and I'm like, man, that's just not, it's not comfortable, but I don't sleep as warm. I feel like my bag works better, you know, if my warm skin is, you know, help heating up the loft in that down, so, or whatever filling you have in there. And I'll hang this up so I don't have any animal problems with my food, because it's I hiked 3.5 miles, almost exactly 3.49 miles to this spot, so I don't want any problems with my food and have to hike out. I certainly don't want to hike out today. I mean, that would be disastrous, so I'll take care of my food. Grab this stick. I didn't need to knock all that on my stuff there. Perfect. All right, that'll keep the animals out of my food. So this morning I had biscuits and gravy, 4 biscuits with probably like 2.5 cups of gravy on it. Which is a ton of calories. I mean, if that's all I had to eat for the whole day, that would have been plenty. But it sure sits heavy when you start hiking. It's not comfortable. But you know, I don't know how many calories it is, but it's got to be 3,000. It sure felt like it when I got done eating. There, now you get to see what I see. Almost looks like they had a fire over there this last summer. Looks pretty brown in a couple spots. I know there's a fire over here because I remember seeing the smoke from my house. Which, when you live up in this country and you see smoke and it ain't far, you get a little nervous. That's my view. It doesn't suck. What a view, man. What a view. rugged country. Down there in the bottom's an elk, like a 5x6. Not a very big one, but they get in that nasty country, man. Spend the winter. I did find a little pool of water, so I'm gonna drink the rest I got in this one water bottle that's almost empty, and I'm gonna fill that up. All right. At the canyon level, but look at this big alcove here. I mean, it's not really an alcove, but it's, you know, it's a pretty big drainage right here. And I see just lots and lots of elevation changes, rock formations, and that kind of stuff. And that's a lot of water coming down to create that. So this is going to be, I'm definitely going to be able to find some old campsites in there somewhere. I'm just going to have to look around. So let's get over there and see what we can find. Yeah, I'm going to go look over there. That's a southeast facing slopish area over there. It's fairly flattish. Got lots of good flatter areas. I would be shocked if I don't find some sign of Indian encampments over here. So let's go check it out. What's really funny is I just stopped, put the camera away, and while I was searching, you know, just scanning around, I wasn't saying what I was going to go look at. I was like, that looks like an antler. And it's right there. On the top of that, you see that little white line? That's an elk antler. It's pretty old. Looks kind of chalky and dried up, but we'll go take a look at that. So that's cool. That's another thing we're out here looking for. So, all right, let's go. All right, that elk antler I spotted should be right up here. So let's go check it out. Whoa, there we go. There we go. Oh gosh. It's hard white. So actually I'm gonna haul that out. At least I didn't get skunked. Perfect. Well, I'm back at camp. I've hiked 8.5 miles today. So the hike I just went on was 5 miles because it was 3.5 miles to here, to this spot. So, yeah, tomorrow, I'm pretty beat now, so I'm glad I'm back. I got a lot of time to relax and get, you know, there's no hurry in gathering firewood. There's plenty right around here, so, and I won't need a fire for very long, you know, a couple, 3 or 4 hours maybe. It's certainly not going to be so cold I need to have it going all night. So, and I'll get enough for in the morning so I can heat up some water, boil some water for my breakfast. But I'm kind of looking forward to there's supposed to be a meteor shower tonight, so, and there's just a little cloud north, but that's it. You know, it's pretty blue sky. So, I mean, clear sky means cold, but it also means you get a good view. So I'm ready for the view. So anyway, I'm gonna do some snacking and then gather some firewood. So let's get that going. I just got to go off this bench, and the snow's pretty melted. It's pretty thin, so I'm gonna have to probably go to a few different spots. But I see a few shady spots that got a fair amount of snow. So let's go get some. Try to get as little dirt as possible on this. It's gonna be a little tough. That's full. Yeah, sun's getting a little lower. Hopefully we'll have a good sunset. Got my pile. Got me a little place for my fire. Got a nice rock to sit on. Got my water or snow to melt so I can get me some dinner. It's pretty much ready. Got my bag ready to roll. It's probably like, it feels like it's about 45. I mean, it's not, I mean, I only have a thermal shirt on, so it's not even cold enough to have a jacket on yet. So that's good. That's good news. I don't know if you guys have ever used any of this pyro putty. Some guy out of Utah makes it, I think. I always get it at the Sportsman's Show. I always get 1 or 2 cans every time I'm out there. I got two in my four-wheeler, 2 in my hiking bags. Like, I always just, because this stuff really works really well. You don't need much of it. So, you know, I'm gonna put I don't really need this, but I'm gonna put a little bit there. So this stuff is pretty, it's got like a wax. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's pretty fibrous. And like, that's a lot. You don't need that much. I'm gonna put that much in there just cause, why not? And then that thing will burn for a long time. And like you guys know, start small and work your way up. Yeah, like that flame is all just that pyro putty right there. So, I mean, it's a little bit of that napkin, you know, but that pyro putty is really what's burning right there. You know, and you can use, you know, lots of people like to just bring a piece of flint. You know, I used to carry a flint, a ferro rod, and the magnesium rod. And I used to start fires like that for years, you know, when I was a kid, 'cause I just thought it was cool, you know, but it just takes longer, you know. I mean, it's nice to have, like, I still carry one of those with me, just in case. But I always have, you know, 3 lighters. I always carry a lighter in my bino harness. I carry one in my, I carry 2 in my bag. So, you know, I always have 3 with me no matter what. And when I have my four-wheeler, if I'm on my four-wheeler, I got two in there, you know, so I'm not so bushcrafty that I don't use lighters, you know, like, it's like today, you know, I'm not out here trying to survive. This certainly isn't surviving. This is just fun ass camping. Notice I put my bag pretty far away from the ledge. You don't want to get too restless and roll off this rascal. I mean, it ain't super far, but that'll break you up, if not do you in. Man, what a great evening. And the weather, my God, the weather is just perfect. I feel like it's like in the high 40s right now. That's crazy for this time in December. I'm not gonna complain though, that's for sure. I'm happy about it. Man, look at this sunset. I can tell you one thing, the temperature changed. Man, when that sun started going down, it changed real quick. There she goes. Man, just can't get any better than this, you know? I mean, it's hard to believe that it's mid-December. And it should be freezing ass cold. And it's probably like 32, 34 right now, so it's not hot, but it's not horrible. You know? It's nice to get out here and, you know, not need a tent. I'm gonna enjoy this fire for a while and let it die down. Hopefully around 8:30. I was gonna eat second dinner, but I'm pretty full from the first one, so you know, I'm good with that. I'm gonna drink some hot tang here in a little bit, and then about 8:30, I'm gonna let this fire die down and climb in my bag, and then I'm just gonna, it should be pretty dang dark until the moon comes up, and I'm just gonna sit and watch. It's supposed to be that meteor shower, so you know, hopefully I can see a bunch of that stuff going on. That'll be cool. But other than that, I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy this little fire. I mean, the fire is not too big, you know. It's perfect size. I'm not gonna burn a lot of wood this way. Well, good morning. I had a not a very comfortable spot to sleep last night, so my body's a little stiff. It got pretty chilly last night. My bag, I was super warm, so that was good. But the meteor shower was amazing. I think I counted, not I think, I know I counted 147 meteors. I think the most I've ever seen at any one night has been like 15, you know? Like, that was just ridiculous last night. It was so cool. And it was just like, I just laid, I went to bed at like 10 o'clock. I was gonna go to bed at like 8 o'clock because I thought, oh, I'll be too bored just to sit here by the fire. And but I was just standing up here on the edge, looking away from the fire so the fire wouldn't, the light didn't affect what I could see. But I just sat here like this, and there was so many times, whoa, it was awesome. I mean, it was streaking across the sky and stuff. Oh man, it was pretty amazing, and it was pretty fun. It was a really fun night. I got up this morning at 6:30. It's still dark. Got my fire back going so I could boil some water. I got my food cooking right now, so I'm just gonna enjoy this view this morning. My phone's dead, and my other camera, so I don't know why the batteries died so quickly this time. I had them fully charged, but anyway, I got my 360, and I still got a little bit left on my phone, so I just wanted to wait and not use it until I had to. So, but yeah, check out this view, man. Just amazing view. But yeah, so I'll get my stuff packed up, eat my breakfast, and then I'll put my fire out. Let's get out of here. Oh, what a view today, man. What a view. This would have been a really nice spot to camp, but the problem is I couldn't see the sky, so I needed to see the sky last night. Just to give you an idea how gnarly these canyons are. Like, you can see it start right there, this little finger. It drops about 40 feet, and then another 80 feet, 40 feet, and then probably 100. And then you can look, it just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. That's probably 300 feet down there to the bottom, 400 feet. And yet it just starts 300 yards that way. I mean, these canyons are no joke. Hopefully we can find something around here. I can see over there, there's a way down to at least that section. Actually, all the way down. They can get all the way down. I actually see a trail, game trail, but yeah, the Native Americans, like, if the water's going to be down in the bottom and they can get down there, I mean, they were badasses. That ain't nothing for them, for the women, let alone the men. But the women, they were typically going to go down and get the water. So, to hike that into these little pockets to get water isn't that big a deal to them. So it's just survival. But if they can get down in there, that's key, so if there's a place to do that they can camp around, that's a nice area to camp. Like, all this is good camp spot stuff. So, good shelter type terrain. So I don't know, we'll see. I would be shocked if I don't see anything. I mean, I was kind of shocked yesterday, but there was no way to get in the canyon, so at least there's a way to get in the canyon here. And back over there, underneath that waterfall there, there's a big giant alcove in there, so that actually might have been used as well. I'm definitely going to hike over in there and see if there's a way down to it right quickly. I don't see anything on that side. If there's one on this side, then we'll go look at it. I've walked around. I didn't see any signs of any camps, any tool making or anything. So I'm almost wondering, you know, maybe there's not the right material around here, enough of it to make a camp, you know, to live, you know. I don't know. That would be surprising, because just over that way about a mile there's another canyon, and that's Cedar Canyon, and that's my last video. If you didn't get a chance to see that, there's all kinds of petroglyphs and camps. I mean, it's just, you know, it was inhabited, you know, in just tons and tons of places. So I don't know, you know, you feel like, well, why not? I mean, why there and why not here? You know, there's tons of game around, lots of water, you know, pinyon nuts, you know, there's going to be tons of that stuff out here. So I'm not really sure, other than maybe, you know, the lack of the proper rock. Well, I mean, you can't say that either, because I've seen a lot of it, actually, chunks of it. So I don't know. I am standing, there's an alcove right below me, and it's pretty big. It goes pretty deep down in there. So I'm pretty sure if there was a camp, there would be one made. And it drops off pretty significantly down there. You can get down right around that rock and access it. But the problem is you need to come up higher, because it's just right around. And that ground is all broken off right there, and it's very, very steep and loose, and right now it's frozen. So I really want to go down in there, but I also don't want to slip and, you know, injure myself, because to get rescued out of there, you know, yeah, I've got my inReach and they'll know where I'm at, but it's not going to be easy getting you out, you know, if you get hurt and you can't get yourself out. So I mean, I want to show you guys stuff, and I want to see stuff, but I don't want to see stuff at the risk of my health. So anyway, let's take a dive off of here and see what we see. You can see that is just crazy. But there is a nice alcove underneath of there. So yeah, and there's certainly a way all the way down to the bottom of the canyon, which had been, you know, desirable. Yeah, it's crazy how deep these canyons are, you know, and this is all done by water, you know, and water and wind. But yeah, I don't see any petroglyphs along the sides like you normally see on the ends of them, but so I'm just not gonna chance it. So I'm gonna hike up this canyon and just see what we see. So hopefully I can find something, you know. I mean, I don't mind hiking around out here and not finding anything. You know, finding things is, you know, the cherry on top, but I'm just enjoying being out here, so. And I'm not, elevation wise, I'm probably, I gotta climb probably 800 feet, so at elevation. But I'm gonna stay in this canyon. I say canyon, I'm gonna stay in this draw. The canyon's there, but it goes up the direction I need it to go. So I'm just gonna stay in the bottom and see what's down here. I might find an antler, or, you know, you never know what you'll find. So sometimes they'll leave cairns and that kind of stuff out here, so I've seen those quite a bit. Who knows? Anyway, let's get hiking. Let's do what we got. Well, I did all the climbing I'm going to do for today. So it's all, I got one little hill where I got to drop down through a swell, headed back. I'm going to get shed some layers here. It's pretty warm. So you can see the outcropping that I was camped on the other side of that. So this morning I dropped down that way to that canyon and walked it all the way around and up. And I wasn't seeing any, I think I saw one little encampment, which I have on the video. It wasn't really, I wouldn't even call it a campsite. I mean, they camped there at least overnight probably. And chipped a few large rocks into smaller rocks and probably moved on. So my plan was to go up and then cross over this mesa behind me and then drop back down to the Jeep. But since I wasn't seeing anything that way, I thought, well, my best chances of finding an antler would be coming up this way and go back the way I came once I got to the top of this hill. So that's what I did. The Onyx shows I'm at 12 miles so far, just a little over 12 miles. I got a mile and a half left. All right, I'm back at the Jeep. Made decent time getting out, about 4 hours hiking out from this morning. Looking around included, you know. If you like what you saw, like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching. I'll put a link to the video I did a couple weeks ago that had the petroglyphs, which was right down in this canyon right here, just up about a mile. It's got like I said, it's got some of the best petroglyphs in Colorado on it, and some really cool stuff. So click on that, and I appreciate you tuning in to Happy Ass Ranch. And I'm tired. I'm gonna go home and eat. Have a good day. See you on the next one.